Hi, Sarita.
Hi.
Sarah from the Upcoming.
Nice
An
to
absolute pleasure to speak to you today. How are you?
meet
You
you.
look
I'm
very.
so good.
So we're 5 years on from that cliffhanger we were left with Aidan and Carrie. It's summertime in New York City. Can you set the scene for us for season 3 and particularly for Seema?
Season 3 is my favorite, only because first of all, everyone, it is summer, it's hot, we're wearing different kind of, we've been wearing in the other 2 seasons, Seema especially, coats and leopard suits and so much going on, and that still happens, but with summer, obviously, less clothing. Even shooting, it was hot, so you'd get sweaty. I love that personally. Like, I love when there's a glisten or that feeling. A lot happens, I think, in this season that's unusual in that, like, especially for Seema, because she's being someone who's, I think, quite confident and quite ballsy. There's moments of indecision, which are unlike her, and lead to the reverse of situations, which, like, thank God for the indecision. So, yeah, I loved playing her this season.
And what is it, that's so great about playing this character? I think kind of her unapologetic honesty is just something that's so refreshing to see on screen, and it must be so much fun to kind of lean into that.
It's so fun to lean into. It's also, when I first did season 1, I was a little nervous about it because you want to lean in without it becoming too much or too brash or, And then the more I leaned in, I was like, God, I'm a bit jealous of, I want to be like this, more in my life. And I started to enjoy it. And now it just seems normal to me.
And I loved what Michael had said about this season in particular, about it, there's sort of a running theme being surrendering to uncertainty and to kind of what life hands you, even as we get older, perhaps there's a temptation to get stuck in a rut or think, this is it for me. And this is kind of the antithesis to that. So do you think that's true? And why is that such a nice theme to explore in a show like this?
First of all, of course, Michael Patrick said it better than me because he's a writer. That's so brilliant. I do agree with that because, we're brought up, especially if you're in your 50s, you come from the tradition of, at that age, you should be married with grandchildren and sitting by the fire kind of situation. And so for the show to have these women either, like in my case, suddenly single again and having to put on those heels and get out there, and it's like, it's so wonderful because the truth is you want someone to sit by the fire with, so you better go out and find them. I just love that. It's an awkward journey that in the end, thank God, my friend always says to me, if you feel like things aren't going well, just get out of the house. Something always happens. And I feel like that's the show. You have to leave the house.
What I also love about the show, is I grew up watching Sex and the City, probably a bit younger than I should have been watching it. But I still think it's, one of the most sort of bold, taboo-breaking representations of, the female experience of sex and relationships. But it's also continued to evolve with the times and with the characters. So what's it been like for you jumping on board with such an iconic show, but also at this point in its evolution?
It was, I also remember when I first saw it, because HBO even was very new and having uncensored, no ads, so they didn't have to control what you were doing. And I thought that was kind of like cool. And then I saw the show and I remember thinking, it's interesting to watch a show that's subversive, but also makes you happy and free and it feels fun. Because usually when you watch subversive, you're like risking something and it feels like, oh, I don't know if I could really do that. But somehow these characters make you feel like you can do it because you relate to them. That's why I was happy to join the show, because I thought, oh, I like that idea of playing someone that other people see as something they could actually be. It's not unattainable, yet it's still unusual.
And I think it sort of embraces something about the messiness of life and relationships and love, which, we still talk about now. Is, when we see that in a movie or a female character that's not afraid to be messy. But if you think about it, this was already, with this show happening some time ago.
Totally agree with you. Yeah, I don't think much. I think because its genius is to still have a commerciality to it, people forget that each situation that like Carrie would get into and decisions, or I think they also showed the private thought pattern of a woman, but they made it so normal because it is normal to us, but it was every day. And so you were like, you felt less lonely. You were like, oh, that happened to me. And it happened to her. So I'm not a freak, you know? So smart.
100%. Well, I'm out of time, but thank you so much for sharing all that with me. And I can't wait for everyone else to see season 3.
Thank you.